Hey, good morning. Happy Thursday. Welcome to the Morning Coffee, part of Provoking Safety, the channel where we think, talk, and do safety with the intention of provoking it at home and in the workplace. Today's Thursday, one day closer to the weekend, and it's a long weekend to boot. Thanksgiving weekend. Yeah. Anyway, as I mentioned before, I'm rejigging and reworking the morning coffee, and so Thursdays are going to be talking about technology. And yeah, some really cool technology I want to talk about today, and that's virtual reality. Let's have a quick look at the article. Now, for those of you that don't know, virtual reality is anything that immerses us outside of the perceived physical world and into a virtual world. More and more headsets are being used along with headphones or earphones, and along with other things, accoutrements like gloves or batons or controls, right down to full-fledged simulators. Pretty soon we'll be able to plug in and learn martial arts like this guy.
I know Kung Fu.
Yeah, thanks, Neil. You know Kung Fu. Yeah, like the Matrix. But anyway, no, in all seriousness, it's becoming a good idea and a good complement to actual physical training and physical instruction. Keep that in mind. I said complement. The idea is immersing the person into a cognitive environment and taking them sort of where they can experience what it would be like in the real physical environment without any of the risks. And it comes very close to some real world experiences. So much so that you've likely seen the videos where people are going like this or cowering in fear or whatever the case may be. And in one case, as I've highlighted in the article here, a federal judge dove in an attempt to save himself and catch an imaginary ledge after falling off the virtual platform. As a result, he slammed into a very real table, which is one of the other risks, and we'll talk about it down below. Now, don't worry. I will leave links to the article below, along with another article, and you can have a look at them at your own leisure and form your own opinions. Don't just take mine.
Why do I care so much about your opinion?
Now, many organizations are using virtual reality as a safety training tool. A couple of concerns here. Number one is a lot of groups and companies will use safety as part of a selling feature, and by all means, learning to do something properly is safer, by all means, but it's not necessarily a safety product. It's like anything else where people use that safety term as a catch-all or safety as a leverage to get something by, and, after a while it becomes frustrating. But that's another rant for another day, and...
Well, I sort of got sidetracked.
Yeah, I'll focus and go on. The article quotes an author here who's done a lot of research on virtual reality and has done a lot of work with the virtual reality systems and so forth. And good stuff. There is a place for virtual reality. It helps if you think about it. Old saying is, what we hear we'll likely forget. What we see we might recall, but what we do we'll remember, or variations thereof. And so the idea behind virtual reality is it gets your psychomotor skills going and helps to fasten or reinforce that memory. In fact, when they were doing research, they found that people using the VR headset had a 9% higher overall recall and accuracy with that recall than those that were using a computer. I'll go on to talk about some more of those concerns in a bit. Now, think about it. There's lots of applications. Heavy-duty equipment operator, and that includes crane operation. Think about it, too, is you own a large company and you want to hire a new heavy equipment operator. Before you put them on that $500,000 or $1 million rig, maybe run them through the VR and just see what they're like. And if they end up like rolling into the ditch and crashing and not getting anything done, thank you for your time. Here's a Starbucks card, off you go, or whatever the case may be. I don't know. But testing them before you put them into that piece of equipment in a VR system might also be a good idea. Might also save accidents, save assets and everything, so I can see it as a safety application then, by all means. Using it for things like fall protection or emergency training, I do have some concerns because I'd like to see how that person behaves in a more closer real world environment. Same thing with hazard recognition. I'm going to leave you a link below as well for another website, and they're actually specialized in software sales, but they have a video at the end of it, and it's a bit on hazard recognition training, and by all means the video walks you through real quick first off, and so you have to look quick to see things like the hazards of spilled water on the ground or a broken smoke detector or a blocked exit. But it does other things, like it points out bad posture for a person that's bent over working. And great, bad posture, but that's not the hazard. The hazard is the poorly designed workstation. You pointed out an effect of a hazard versus the actual hazard. And so my other concern is I've seen a lot of software, and I'm not pointing fingers or saying anything, but I've seen a lot of software and a lot of applications designed by groups who mean well and think they know well, but they don't really consult safety professionals, or it's a fleeting consultation, or they just try to make it work regardless of what the safety professional says. And I'm hoping that this isn't the case. I have some other concerns. We'll talk about that in a sec. Now, there's potential hazards as well. We talked about the physical hazards, and it talks about this in the article as well, making sure that there's lots of room around the person, and that I would go further and say make sure that they're wearing knee pads and elbow pads in case they do fall on a cement floor, because realistically, come on, where have you not been, and it's not been at least carpet on cement in an industrial setting. Now, the other problem is of course motion sickness, or they call it simulator sickness, but it's really and truthfully motion sickness, really. No different a term for it. And there is a case where one VR user that the author quotes saying that they collapsed after arriving home, falling into a fence post and hitting her head, but she wasn't seriously injured.
Did she fall and hit her head?
I question that one. But anyway, my concern is I hope that person didn't drive home afterwards. And so if that's the case, if it's also possibly delayed, you might have to write into your training program that everything ends and all participants are checked on for the next hour and a half afterwards to make sure nothing happens. The author also goes on to state that they should not use it for any more than 20 minutes at a time, and closer to 5 to 10 is better. So that really makes any kind of quality training prohibitive in my mind. And how long do you rest between your sessions? That's not spoken about here, but I imagine if you're hiring a company, they'd be talking to you about that. A couple of other things to consider as well beyond that is, and the author does talk about it, things where there's rapid shifts in the vision can tend to bother users. My other question would be is, what about people with epilepsy or have had seizures in the past but have been seizure-free? Is that going to be a risk? Cost is an issue. Another big one is spoken about is the ergonomics. And so what about users? Do they end up with, and some have ended up with very sore necks, or they've been experiencing discomfort because they got to hold their hands or arms in an unusual position. So I guess that has to be part of the programmed environment too, in that consideration. My biggest concern is taking the place of actual training. We've all seen, and if you are denying this, yeah, we can argue down below in the discussion if you want, but I've seen such an abuse of computer-based training to take place of safety training and have absolutely no value whatsoever, to the point where our participants are actually texting each other while they're doing it, or taking screenshots of the answers and passing them on to other people. It's I don't know. I'm not a big proponent of computer-based training for safety, but that's me. Maybe I'm too old-fashioned. I don't know. I'm a geek. I'm a nerd. I love technology, and I think we should embrace it, but I think it should complement actual training. Because how are you evaluating the training the person's getting? I mean, it's perfect for things where you're running equipment, driving, etc. But for things like hazard recognition, for fall protection, for emergency situations, for first aid, how are you evaluating it afterwards? How are you evaluating the training? What are we going to do for problems where remedial training is required? Are we going to send them back? Are we going to start listing on job requirements, has to have 100 hours of virtual reality training before they can take the job? Yeah. I don't know.
Put on your virtual reality helmet.
It's not like the Matrix. I think we still need some real world stuff here. I don't think anything will take the place of actual instruction, or the quality may suffer as a result. However, I do see it where it can complement actual instruction, and the two can be put together quite well with some successes. Yeah, hey, weigh in. Leave me a comment or two. I'd appreciate it. Anyway, that's it for today. That's my technology bite for today. I got more coffee to drink and a day with some more work involved. You've also got a day, so take care. Do me a favor, think safety, talk safety, do safety, and provoke it at home and in the workplace. If you haven't done so already, do me a favor, click the subscribe button. Ding the bell, you'll get notified of new content. If you like the video, do me a favor, click the like button as well. If you didn't like it, well, you know the drill. You go ahead and smash that unlike button. Anyway, enjoy your day. Have a great day. Bye for now.